Okay, now we hope to do a very brief video. Oh, well, good morning Ian, welcome back. Very brief video talking a little bit about task 2 for our Days of the Cow folio. So we're going to try and explain how we link features from a graph to some real world effects. First of all, here's my example that I generated before, so I'm quickly going to go into Desmos and see if we can make something like that. Let me just look at that equation. Okay, so see, first sort of improvement I'm going to do is I'm going to make my variable t this time. If 10 cos brackets pi over 6 t, if I make this t, then t will be my variable as I go along, plus a little bit, 2.1, have a look, 9, not 2.1, 9. Okay, so we can see first up we're going to have to do some adjustment on the graph. Now what I might do is I want to look at this over 12 months, so I might restrict the domain. 0 is less than t, less than, well, normally I'll go 2 pi here, but I want 12 months. Okay, so you can see this graph. Obviously we're going to do some work over in the spanner. A little bit more than 12. Okay. I want the x-axis to be a little bit more than 12. Okay, and we're going to have to zoom out a bit there. Okay, here we go. So we have some clear points of interest that we can highlight. Wow, 12, 19. Show the point. I might do this deliberately for all the points that I'm interested in. Or not. 0, 19. Here is definitely some points that are of interest. Now what I might do is I might choose a point somewhere in the middle here, and like at 2, and we'll use a little trick. So if I want to highlight that point, I'm going to go 2, and using my function notation, I'm going to write c bracket 2. Well, I have to make it match that exactly, so capital C. This is really useful later on. Okay, so we'll also show these points. This graph might be just about ready to go. Yeah, print screen. Now in each of these videos where I go through and I'll highlight something as red, that's really for you to write something more interesting and proper there. So this is probably going to be a bigger graph than these other little graphs. I can use some arrows coming along here. What is important is at this point, now, when I'm looking at the caption, I certainly need to state the units that are going across, units that are going up. We do this using the classic time bracket months, which is the independent variable, versus the dependent variable, or the function in this case, daily milk production. and the units there are litres. Okay, now that's down here. An alternative would be to edit these graphs and add words on top. Okay, that's generating the first picture. Okay, continuing on with task 2, we need to see some sort of sentence that explains that you clearly understand what is going on. So here, I'm going to consider this point. The point at 2, 14 indicates that at the start of which month? February? Daisy is producing 14 litres per day. The slope is trending down, indicating her production level is dropping. Such a sentence associates the height of the graph with the actual milk production, and the fact that the slope is, getting less and less and less is the production level is dropping. Clearly we could talk about when the maximum is and the fact that it repeats after 12 months. That certainly need to be talked about. If we look at the example, I've also talked about the average effect and how much it would increase by each day. That's actually linking more to do with the algebra. If I was to do that with this graph, maybe I could add a line of y equals 9 to the graph, and we can see the principal axis here, and we can talk about maybe you could add that to your graph. Well, some of the time it's below this axis, so 9 take 10 equals -1. Yep. Also on here we have a description of what's going along across the whole year, and very, very important, we have this assumption here, something that isn't quite true, but in terms of an assumption is pretty close. Months aren't all 30 days. Some are 28, some are 31. So I've just mentioned this here, that on my graph each of these months are the same length. Okay, so I've gone down here, talked about this interesting bit where it doesn't make negative milk, has a negative effect. But the last thing I want to talk about, according to my dot point here, is doing some maths. So I've got 2 or 3 points here. So, okay. So, the period on the graph is 12 months. B term is equation bracket. Okay, there's not a super amount of equations in this folio at this point, but this, what I'm doing right now, is very much part of your future. So, where did I go? I went insert, equation. Now we could quite easily just choose one and then adjust it. So if I'm in here, it's and I'm not quite sure what's going on, I go to design, equation, click on here, and I've got whatever pieces that I'm looking for. Okay, so I really want to simply check the formula. And the formula was insert. Formula was in the test. Ooh, another spoiler. They keep happening. Period equals. So the purpose of this really is that rather than just having a whole project full of comments on graphs, we need to include some of the maths that we have been looking at throughout the term. So I'm just going to expand this with another fraction. Looks like we're going to get a fraction on top of a fraction here, 2 pi, and put another fraction in here, and looking for pi on 6, and this equals 2, where's the symbol for multiply, 2 times 6 equals 12. Okay, so here we're just looking to bring in some of the mathematics that we might have used. Another piece of mathematics might have been that the D value subtract the A value is equal to the minimum, and the D value plus the A value is equal to the maximum, etc. Just looking for a few ways that we can bring in some mathematics. Another one might be to link in when the graph is above a certain number, and that might have some solving the equation as per the last question in the test. The spoilers just keep coming. Okay, well, I might just leave it here. We do have a good example. I will leave on the end point in that this is a good, it gives you an idea what you might write for this section, and in particular gives you a good idea of what you're going to write for this section. You're going to make a graph where these two are added up, okay, and then describe some of the implications for that graph. Then we'll have some games with the slider tool. That's it for now.